Thank you so much for being here. I'm very honored and happy to share some stories with you. I wanted to start by sharing a small piece of bread, but I don't think I'll not find one person who still has this bread in his hand, right? Really? You already had 3 of them anyway, right? So there's something wrong around here. I wanted to start with a small piece of bread which we call manouche, which is a typical breakfast of our Lebanese mountains that is simple bread topped with wild thyme that men and women pick from all over the Lebanese mountains. I don't think something can speak better of traditions, of a place and of people rather than that small piece of bread. I don't think something can speak better of people more than their own food. Food is the best expression of tradition. It's the best expression, the most authentic and sincere expression of who we are, where do I come from. Yesterday, I arrived to London, a city which I like a lot. I went straight away to Margot Henderson, La Rochelle Canteen, and we were eating chicken from somewhere in the English countryside, Jersey potato, and wild garlic that just sprouted. People express their traditions through many ways, through costumes, through architecture, through music, through poetry. Still, food is the best expression of our tradition. There is 5 million Lebanese in Lebanon, 15 million around the world. They just took with us their tabbouleh and their kibbeh. Italian took around their pizza and pasta, Chinese their noodles, Japanese their sushi, and Indians came to this country and brought their curry with them, and today it's a British national dish. Thank you for passing back the manouche. This is a very Lebanese way of doing it. We just find a solution. This is what we try to celebrate in a very small country like Lebanon. Well, I don't know very much the sizes of regions in England, but it's not bigger than just a very small English region. It's 200 square long, 200 kilometers long, 50 kilometers large on the eastern shores of the Mediterranean. And it's such a diversity of geography between a coastal plain, very high mountains, and an inland. It's such a diversity of peoples, ethnicities, religions, and politics, and everything is crammed in such a small place. In that sense, Lebanon is a real case study where the concept of the other does not exist. What is the other? It is a minority compared to a majority. In Lebanon, there is no minority, no majority. It's a 50-50 country, a half-half country. Half Christian, half Muslim. Half people looking to the east, half of them looking to the west. Half sea people, half mountain people. No one is the one and no one is the other. It's such a fragile equilibrium that makes it such a catastrophe sometimes and very often, as you heard very often of these different wars that happened in Lebanon. And it's such a celebration very often too, where we can not do conflict resolution, forget the differences, and rather celebrate the diversity between different people. If it's possible to have the pictures just in the slideshow, please, in a random way. Wow, that's the right way, thank you. No music. So, what we try to do, these are baked manouche from my neighbor in Batroun, a very small village on the Lebanese coast. What we try to do since 2004, I'm a son of farmers and producers. I studied graphic design. I went to be a food and travel writer, discovering a country that I heard about, but I never visited. I was born in '69. The war started in Lebanon. One of these different wars started in Lebanon in 1975, and I never had to visit that country because during that time, this very, very small country was totally, completely divided, one region from another, and we couldn't, it was very difficult, and very often we couldn't cross from one border to another. In 1991, the war ended. We don't know why it started. We don't know why it ended. And it was like, okay, you have it all for you. So what are we going to do about it? I started touring the whole country to discover what was these other places I never visited and who were these others I always heard about as my enemy and as the others that wanted to kill me and my family and eradicate me. And people often ask me, what did I find as wonderful things, as scenery, as geographic, archaeological sites or historical sites? And for me, I just discovered wonderful people, where I discovered the other just totally like me, where if I would come to him with open arms, they would have wider arms. If I come with a gun, they would shoot me before I get to them. So we are totally all the same. There was no others, we are all the same. So I said, why do we need to think about conflict resolution? Why don't we think about a common project, a common ground, a common vision, a common dream that we can all build together? In 2004, I started a dream. I started a project that I called Souk el-Tayeb. Souk means market, as you know, which is like these oriental souks that you hear about in the Orient with all the smells and flavors that are in our mind. And Tayyib means good. Good in Arabic means good as a taste, good as a person, but good as a life too. And we tried to put all of these meanings in this project. The project started in July, on 10th of July 2004. It started as a farmer's market, a weekly farmer's market every Saturday morning. Like we were Saturday morning, it was like the market day to day. Today, there was people coming from all over the country. Small-scale producer, people doing wonderful job in their own villages, but what can they do of their tomato in the tomato village? Who would like to have tomato in the tomato village or cherry in the cherry village? It was about how to bring the producer from rural to urban, where there's a demand and the purchasing power. It was about bringing the producer and the consumer together in a direct relation, in a direct contact. For the consumer to understand that food is not just a commodity product, it's not just a product on the supermarket shelf that only money can buy. It is something, it's a life product that someone planted, harvested, or cooked. So how to have, again, this direct relation between the producer and the consumer. How to give back direct recognition to the producer. How to cut the middleman and the middle system and give back to the producer all of the gain of his work. The project started in 2004 as a farmer's market, where we support organic agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and all good ways. From 2004, it was, why is it only a movement from rural to urban? Why don't we go back to the villages from time to time and celebrate the local specialties of these different villages, where we would go back to Hammana, a village known for its cherries, and celebrate a cherry day for one day a year. It would be a celebration from the city going back to the rural areas, for the people in the rural areas to understand that they are as important as anyone else. For the people in charge of the development to understand that development doesn't happen only in one part. It's not just about building bridges and roads and building buildings in the city. It's about an equilibrium between and equal development between both rural and urban, at both places together. It's understanding that rural and urban are not antagonistic parts, but one part that complements and feeds the other. So how to go back from time to time to rural areas to celebrate what these areas has as treasures. We don't have diamonds, we don't have oils, but Hammana has cherries, Ehden has kibbe, and Batroun has its fish. And every land has its small treasure. So how to celebrate the treasures that we have? From there, we went on to education in schools and a little bit in universities. Then we developed many different projects. The latest project is called Tawle. It started in November 2009, where it was about, it's great to organize a farmer's market, all the different projects, but we would like the producers not to be only suppliers of individuals who would buy produce, fresh produce or canned produce and go cook them at home, or not to supply big name chefs for them to cook in their own restaurants. It is how these producers, mainly the women, how do they cook and transform the produce into cuisine. So we created Tawle, and you will see like many different, this is Mona, from a very small village on the southern border of Lebanon. She's preparing a typical dish, which is kibbe. This is raw meat kibbe that you see in the first plan. And Mona prepares her kibbe in a southern way, which is totally different than what we produce in the north. So how each region has a totally different expression and we express ourselves through the product of the land, through the agriculture, through the food production, and the cuisine itself. Since November 2009, so this is Suzanne. Suzanne is Queen Kibbe from the north, so that was like Suzanne and Mona Ali, so two antipodes of two totally different cultures. The Maronite from the north and the Shiite from the south, how each one has a different expression, but still under all these different expressions, how we can get all together through a common ground. How can we go over our different religions and politics through a common project? These wonderful women were at Tawle a week ago. Palestinians in Lebanon are into many different camps, which are more like ghettos or prisons. So what we tried to do is develop a project in the two Palestinian camps in Lebanon that we called el-Tayeb Palestine, the wealth or the good things about Palestine, where we are working with these wonderful women through developing a line of typical Palestinian product and typical Palestinian cuisine. And when we started working with them, nothing talked to their heart more than the food itself and the memories of food. Tawle exists since November 2009, where it's an open kitchen, where every day a different woman from a different region would come and prepare a whole buffet typical from her own region, like if we were invited to her at home. From all these different projects, it's not about the food, it's not about the kibbeh, it's not about the tabbouleh. It is how to support wonderful people, wonderful men and women who are doing a great job. It is how to create human development projects. It is how to do better what we have to do. Islam says every act is an act of worship. We don't need to go to a mosque or to a church to pray. It's just by doing perfectly well whatever we're doing that we are going to have the best contribution to life. Through this very small project in this very small country, it was how to put in direct contact the producer and the consumer, how to perpetuate a history and tradition through a very simple medium, which is food, how to break the already existing systems of I'm a for-profit, I just do money, I don't have responsibility, or I'm a non-profit, I have responsibility, but I am afraid of money, how to do for-benefit projects. It was about how bringing all these ideas together and to always remember what Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. Don't nag about it, just do it. Thank you, Pauline, for doing it and for saying it.